Let me know, because like the Streamlabs is being weird for me, but
Yeah. Do you have an update or something?
I don't know. It doesn't show the chat in my Streamlabs anymore, and it doesn't like let me pick. Like usually it'll like bring me to my settings. The Streamlabs is being weird. Oh, I didn't have it muted, so I was just like hearing myself talk. Couple dots in the chat here. 41 a channel, Matt Yates. Couple of the boys. We'll let some people roll in here. But the big news, the biggest news, the return.
Biggest news?
The return of Chris Charlton.
Oh, who's that? I only know
Clarky.
Chris Charlton from the chat 2 days ago.
Yeah, that was so funny.
You're
the worst.
Credentials.
What's up, Ray? What's up, everyone?
Guys, can you post all of your credentials in chat right now, please?
Can we talk about how
everyone's credentials right now?
I saw Devils was like kicking himself because he picked Kreider for his hat trick pick when he had his last hat trick, and then he said he was good. He was thinking of picking him again last night, but he didn't, and he got a hat trick. Yeah, biggest news, Dubé. Yep.
Oh.
No one took Dubé, boys. But I have everything set up here.
If I was on the stream yesterday, I would have taken him.
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon. What's up?
What's going on, guys? It's good to see all of you again.
Yo, a channel. I actually have something funny to show you. I should have sent it in the Discord, but I saw the Kings posted like locked in on Instagram, and it was like pictures of like 5 or 6 players, and one picture was of Amadio. And so many people on the Instagram posts were like, Amadio's not locked in. Amadio is not ready to play. Get Amadio off this team. Man, I was dying. Because I know we've talked about it before. I'll actually send it to you on Discord.
It's legend Daryl Sutter coming back. That's such a... What is going on, man?
Coaches...
Why are you firing your coach after a win?
I think the coach needs to... the coaches need to quarantine. Is that a picture? Yeah. A channel. I just sent it to you on Discord. Meant to predict Dubé. I misspelled it as Stutzla. Man, of course I had Stutzel in my video, and like I just didn't know how to pronounce it properly, so I tried my best. Haven't been here for a few weeks. Pick Fiala for a hat trick pick and he had 2 goals that night.
Oh,
hey,
there's Devils. He's pissed.
Fresh slate today for hat trick picks.
Oh, Nightbot just killed him.
What?
Oh, stop spamming emo.
No way, dude. That's so funny. Dude, Nightbot. I'm gonna have to time Nightbot out. Man, that's so funny. Devils, you better smarten up, man. Nightbot's the stream police today.
I can't. You just absolutely bodied him.
Dude, that's so funny. Why do they always recycle coaches? It's crazy, Grant. Like when you see a coach get fired, they show on screen like potential coaches. It's just the same coaches I've seen the last 10 years. Like why don't they just go grab someone from like NCAA or like OHL, AHL? I guess Keefe is like one of the newer coaches in the league. Hey, he probably has like one of the shortest tenures in the league, Keefe, I would say, if not the lowest.
Yeah.
The shortest.
Well, this is technically his first full season.
Yeah.
As an NHL coach.
What a story though, because I remember I think he was in some like allegations. He got in like a lot of trouble, I'm pretty sure, and then got on with Pembroke and then the Greyhounds, and then Marlies. Like it was like quick transition, like 6-7 years from junior hockey to the NHL.
Wow. I didn't know about that.
From now on, I'm picking 3rd line players for hat tricks only. That's awesome. Dubas GM of the year. Yeah, I think the
honestly,
go ahead.
The Brody thing was just, man. If you take a shot every time he makes a good defensive play, you're legit blackout within the first 10 minutes.
I love that. Yeah, man.
So nice.
You went and got some toughness too with Simmons. I mean, they're missing him because they were good when he was in the lineup. Like he was pretty electric.
Oh yeah, dude, I was shocked. Even if he was like half as good as what he was, it just like as soon as he like got out because of injury, you actually like noticed visibly like a change in like energy from the team.
Yeah, I agree. And like he just like abuses the front of the net, and when you have Matthews shooting the puck on a screen goalie, it's a pretty good chance it's going to go in. Pasternak for Dougie and Olofsson. Yeah, I would take Pasternak in that trade.
Sure.
Sutter and Tippett going to bring back Coyotes and Kings game from 10 years ago. Coyotes and Kings game 10 years ago? 2011? Was that when... No, Alec Martinez was 2014. I was young 10 years ago, man. Like, brain doesn't go back that far. I hope I can start calling him Fiala again, not Failala.
Am I quiet to you?
No, you're good.
Okay. Cosmo is...
Well, I can't hear you on stream. I was young 10 years ago, man. Like,
up, and I'll just say a bunch of random words. Braden Point and Provorov for Mikko Rantanen and hit shots, blocks, goals, and assists.
I'd probably hold. It's really close, though.
Yeah, it is.
Who wins? Pacioretty and Teravainen for Wheeler and Rust. That's close. Actually, that's a trade. That's a trade analyzer question.
That is a trade analyzer question. Mike, why are you muting me on the stream?
You're muted?
No.
I have you.
My gain's up, guys. My gain's up.
I have you. Yeah, I have you full volume.
I just bumped it, so. I yell a lot, so I don't want to turn it too high.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. What was the trade again? Pacioretty, Teravainen. Man, I don't know. Teravainen's last name is like my kryptonite. I hope he spelled it right. Oh, yeah, he did. Let's go. So it looks like the Wheeler Rust side wins. Christian, give me the categories in your league, like the scoring. Because I'll toss it into our custom one. Actually, I've never used the custom one.
Any other buy low goalies except Hart?
I think Leonard's fine.
Yeah, that's a good one because he hasn't really seen the net at all, and he's been injured.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I guess we'll get started. We have 35 people in here. So I think that's decent base for now. All right, so 6-game slate tonight. A couple changes, a couple of same games we've seen. Some games played last night. So we got Washington, Boston once again. You guys know how heavy I was on Boston 2 nights ago against Washington. I think tonight is an absolute smash spot for them again. It's going to be really hard for me to get away from them. Their ownership was down. I think Marchand was the lowest owned in that 3-man stack at 11%. So, man, if they're coming in at 11% as a full stack on a 5-6 game slate in such a favorable matchup against Washington, I think Samsonov's back for the first time tonight since the 17th of January from what I saw. And it looks like this Marchand, Bergeron, Pasternak line played 75% against the Ovi Kuz Shiri line, who is arguably one of the worst defensive lines in hockey. All their Corsi for percentages and goals for percentages, they're all under 50% in the low 40s. And you're looking for lines that are in the mid 50s that you want to be playing. So just such a really, really, really good matchup for Boston one tonight. They busted last game, and that's fine for me. And I said in our Discord, guys, if that game's played 100 different times, I think Boston loses 2-1 maybe 2 times in 100 games. So I'm all over them tonight. I think they're a really good play. You're very handcuffed with who you can pair them with, especially just because of their pricing. But if you want to take out Marchand or Bergeron and put in Richie there for a power play 1 stack, especially if you're MMEing, I think you're fine to do that. I'm going to be doing some of that tonight, even some 4 or 5 mans. I think Grzelcyk on D is a really good play on Boston. 3,600 power play 1. You're really hoping for a couple power play opportunities, and Washington gives you that 3.2 penalties per game. This Boston power play is lights out. They've been lights out their entire career. So definitely all over Boston for me tonight. I'm not fading Washington, guys, but if I'm doing 20 lineups, I don't think I get to any Washington at all. Just so hard for me to play them in such a terrible matchup. This top line, would be where I would go. But now that they're playing this Bergeron line, it's too difficult of a matchup. So if you're going to go anywhere, it's going to be Washington 2. But again, it's just a really, really brutal matchup against Boston tonight.
I think you're better off going to some of the depth if you want to take the Washington side against Boston. Like, I'd even be okay taking that third line just to kind of get away from other third lines ownership. You get Oshie there for PP1. Eller's actually a pretty solid third C as well. But they are a little bit priced up for a third line. But I think it's if you're trying to go somewhere with Washington tonight, I think it's them. I really don't think you can even power play stack the Caps tonight either. As you can see, Boston's power play is really strong at 88%, which is actually like incredibly high for a penalty kill, excuse me. So I think it's honestly, we talked about it prior to the stream. It's a Boston slam spot tonight. Like, you can go the first line for sure. I think is a great play. I agree with Mike. I think 9 out of 10 times, it's not going to be a low event game like we saw last game. And Vanacek is back in net, like that was confirmed. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that because
Samsonov or Vanacek.
It is Vanacek, 100%.
Oh, Vanacek is starting tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You're good. So even then, like, it just gives you a little bit more incentive. Like, you rarely ever see goalies play back to back, and there's a reason for that. So it'll be. He only faced 18 shots last game, though.
It was solo event.
Yeah. Really bizarre game.
I think so
both
too.
Both teams scored in the third. So I think Boston won just a great play tonight, and they're priced up obviously, like past at 9,100. But he's so good, like you don't even mind paying that much for him. And then like Mike said, Grizzly 3,600. That's a good kind of cheap option to pair with your Boston one stack for sure. I really don't like the second line. I just think that Nick Ritchie, even though he's power play 4,100, is still a little bit too expensive of a price for him. But usually we see Krejci a little bit higher. So I think that kind of evens it out. And Craig Smith is a pretty solid top 6 guy as well. So just if you're looking for like a filler stack and you want to get away from some of the other filler lines in terms of ownership tonight. But there's one in particular that we really like that we'll talk about later. I still think it's a really good matchup for Boston here. So definitely a Boston one slam spot. And you're good to take Halak as well. Like, he's a solid backup.
Yeah, and I'm fine going to this Ritchie, Krejci, Craig Smith line as well at 11K. So definitely not out on the Boston onslaught tonight, going line 1 and 2 in one lineup. Probably going to end up doing that. But again, guys, I do a lot of lineups, so I'm able to get different. But in cash, I probably won't be playing a full onslaught. All right, Tampa, Chicago. This was a game I really wanted to monitor last night. I know Chicago just gives up so many opportunities. Like, Lankinen's basically been keeping them afloat, and that's what we've seen all season so far. But I'm back on the Tampa train again tonight. I'm not a fan that they're on the road, but Chicago doesn't really have like shutdown lines. Like, I know this, so it's gonna be this Kubalik, Kampf, Hagel line going against Palat, Point, Coleman, and that's fine with me. I think Chicago depth's weak. I don't think there's anyone on that line that's necessarily a really above average defender. And this Point Palat combo has been extremely good dating back to last season with Kucherov there and with Stamkos there. And then now you're adding Coleman, who is a very high shot volume. He drives the play quite a bit. So I'm going to be getting to some Tampa 1 tonight. I'm also going to be on Tampa 2 as well. I just think they're in such a good spot again against Tampa depth. It looks like this Gord, Gaudreau, Johnson line. And then the Lawrence Sorelli Stammer line is going to be facing off against Chicago 1. It was pretty split last game, and I'm fine with that. I think Chicago 1 is pretty weak defensively. You're going to see their expected goals numbers rise. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have some Tampa tonight. I'm definitely interested in them. Their ownership is going to be relatively low, just given the other spots in the slate tonight, and we'll get to those. And then the defensive side, Hedman popped off last game. I actually had him in my best lineup, but you guys, you needed Ekblad last night to cash. To be near the top anyways. But like Hedman again tonight, he's a little pricey, but that's fine. Kind of gets you away from the field. I think his ownership's going to be pretty low tonight. You could pair him with your Tampa stacks. You can definitely do 3-man. If you wanted to do like Palat, Point, Hedman, or Point, Stamkos, Hedman, I think that's fine. Just kind of gets you a little bit different. McElhinney in net tonight, he's fine. Tampa plays a really strong defensive game. But I think the issue for me in this game is that Tampa takes a lot of penalties, and Chicago just has a really good power play. So it's going to be kind of hard to justify taking too much McElhinney tonight. But I definitely like the spot for Tampa as a whole.
Yeah, I think you're fine going to either of the top 6 in terms of the Tampa Bay team here. I really liked it when you got Palat, Point, and Stammer on the line, but I think they're just trying to get that second line going. Like, Cirelli's been kind of bad as of late, so they kind of need to find a way to get him back involved, especially with like Kucherov being out. I think you're even fine to take the third line here. I know it's a small sample against Chicago's third line, which has really good advanced numbers, as you can see there. But I still think they're one of my favorite third lines, just because of the fact that you get some power play correlation with Gordon, Johnson, and they're typically pretty good 5-on-5. Hedman 6,900. He's your highest priced D on the slate tonight. Power play 1, playing over 24 minutes as usual. Like, you know what you're getting out of Hedman. It's usually not too much in terms of peripherals. More so, you're just hoping he gets a couple of assists and a couple of shots here and there. Sergachev for 4,500. I think there's just better options tonight. Again, like, I'm not a huge Serg fan when it comes to DFS, just because of like his inconsistency. It'd be different if he had higher peripherals, but just for somebody that's playing PP2 4,500 price, you're expecting a little bit more in terms of those shots and blocks. McElhinney's fine as well, 7,900. You got to kind of be careful because I think the Chicago team is sneaky, especially that first line. But outside of that, I think you're good to go anywhere Tampa top 6 tonight. I'm not a huge fan of just the fact that the way that their lines are right now, it doesn't really get me excited. I guess Coleman has a pretty good shot volume, and Palat's kind of been playing better in terms of his production, but I don't think that I'm excited for him at his price at 5,200. I think I would probably just rather go with the second line. You get 2 guys, power play 1 correlated, and Stammer, who's a pretty like known goal scorer, obviously. So I'm leaning a little bit more towards the second line.
Yeah, and for those of you that kind of want to get away from the ownership and duping your lineups, like I had some Killorn, Stamkos, Point 3-mans that were really good for me last night, even with Point getting 4.5 points. Like, they were one of my top lines. I think I actually did a 4-man with Hedman in there, and it paid off pretty well for me last night. So I'm going to go back to that tonight. I definitely like getting a little bit weird, but sticking to the 3-3s as well. On the Chicago side here, so I think Chicago 1 is in a pretty sneaky spot tonight. They're in a back-to-back going against McElhinney and net. I think Vasilevsky really scares people off, and for good reason. Like, he's unstoppable. So my only interest here from this game is Chicago 1 and Chicago power play. I mentioned it a couple minutes ago that Tampa just takes a lot of penalties, and I think like Kane, DeBrincat, like they're really good power play guys. Could definitely see them scoring 1 or 2 tonight. Just the only thing that scares me here is their price is very high, given the kind of a bad matchup against a Tampa team that's been getting it done 5-on-5. But I do like that they're paired against a second line on Tampa here. Their worst defensive line for a team that is really good defensively. And that's fine. So I think Chicago 1 is an ownership play. They're probably just as good as Colorado and Boston. Maybe a little bit worse given the matchup, but I think for their ownership, it's a very fair play for them tonight. On the defensive side here, Calvin DeHaan, he's a very good block shot guy. At 3,400, I think he's someone that you can 100% put in your lineups. If you're looking for a punt D at that price, he's someone that gets literally no ownership and blocks 4 shots a game. So definitely on DeHaan tonight. I was on him last night as well. Got me 5 blocks. And then Malcolm Subban here. I think if you're going Subban, it's literally just an ownership play. So if you're playing Chicago 1 with Vegas 2, and we'll get to Vegas 2 and how chalky they're going to be tonight, you can take Subban to get away from those dupe lineups, because a lot of people are going to be pairing Vegas 2 with these high-priced lines. So you're going to have to find a way to get different, but we'll get to that in the Vegas game.
Subban is usually a 10-foot pole. I think it's better to stay away from him tonight than to take him for an ownership play. I think you can probably find a couple goalies around that price. Like we'll touch on Cal Peterson a little bit later. Even if Quick goes for 7,500, I think you're just a little bit safer in that matchup than you are here, just based off of how much Tampa can score. Adam Boquist, 3,200, power play 1. That's a pretty good punt option. He doesn't really do too much outside of his power play 1 upside. Like you can see, his time on ice there is kind of slim compared to guys like DeHaan, who's getting around 20 minutes, getting a bunch of blocks. He's my boy. Love going to him in that kind of like no man's land price range there. I think even Murphy, like if you just want to get like out of the typical ownership, he doesn't have a lot of upside, but I think he is just at the point where his price kind of drives people away from him. I know, Mike, you're not a huge fan of him, but I think just like getting somebody that has like just consistent blocks and shots is a good, just kind of like to get away from the ownership. I probably am not touching Duncan Keith though. 4,600, like he's cheaper than Murphy. He gets power play 2 time, but I think there's just better options in between that 4,500 and 5K price range. And then Chicago 1. I think it's a good spot for them tonight. I know a lot of people look at Tampa as like just this unstoppable force. But number one, they're playing in a back-to-back. This line has been fantastic, just consistently throughout the season. I don't know if you might have mentioned that you can kind of get different, take Suter off and maybe play like we definitely talked about it prior to the stream, but you can get different with these lines. Like if you just want to take DeBrincat Kane in like a 2-2-2, you can definitely do that. They always seem to be correlated when they score. Even though Kane's 9K, he's been playing so well as of late. And even against Tampa, like not to just go off of last game, but he just like Mike's gonna roast me again for looking at game logs, but I really like them. I think you get away from some of the top lines tonight as well in terms of an ownership play, and they've been great as of late.
Yeah, they've been good. And we were talking about how Kane's like definitely in line for the Hart Trophy this season. So, and I also think if you want, you can even go to Soderberg as your center, the power play 1 correlation with Patty Kane there. So that's another option if you're trying to get different. If you like the power play, Soderberg's playing quite a bit in the power play. I have it up here, so don't mind that at all. All right, St. Louis, LA. I was really, really, really hoping we'd see Tarasenko back tonight. I think he's min price on DraftKings right now. But I was hoping for the Tarasenko return. We were told that he's going to return on this road trip at some point. And I've been seeing that he's practicing a lot. I'm sure 41 has a couple takes on that, reading the news for me. But interesting game today. So I'm definitely going back to the LA side here. I still think St. Louis is kind of a poor defensive team. We see Ville Husso starting tonight, as reported by 41. And he's just like a really bad goaltender. He just really hasn't found anything in the NHL in his career. So LA won in a good spot. The only reason why I'm going to be a little bit lower on them is because of this O'Reilly-Kyrou-Sanford matchup. And O'Reilly's been known to literally slow the play down completely. Very strong defensive forward, but it's just such a good power play spot for LA here. St. Louis takes 3.5 penalties a game, 75% power or penalty kill. LA's been getting it done the power play. I just think it's too favorable of a power play spot for them. If they can score one or two 5-on-5 goals and get a couple power play tallies, like they're going to be the nut stack tonight. So I'm on LA 1 tonight. I think on the St. Louis side here, I just think it's a really tough matchup for this O'Reilly-Kyrou-Sanford line on the road, going against this Kopitar line that's been lights out dating back to last season. But I definitely have some interest in this Walker-Shen-Perron line, just because they're going against the LA depth, and this Velarde-Carter-Athanasiou line is just not good. Their numbers do look good in their short sample, but as the sample grows, it's going to look a little bit worse for them. So have some interest in St. Louis 2 tonight. As a really kind of a contrarian one-off play, I think you're fine to take Sundqvist on power play 1. If you guys are interested in doing like a Shen, Perron, Sundqvist stack, yeah, you're fine to do that just for the power play correlation there. Torrey Krug, 40 or 5,100. Like he's a guy where, like, if you're telling me about Connor Murphy at 5K, like I'm way more inclined to just go to Torrey Krug, power play 1. His minutes are up quite a bit this season. He's just like, he's been really good and he projects really well for us. So I'm on Krug 100% tonight. I'm going to have a decent amount of him. Ville Husso, no thank you. LA just doesn't shoot the puck enough for me. They're one of the lowest shot volume teams in the league. And for a goaltender that's like on the road and in a pretty bad matchup, the only reason why you're taking him is for the shot volume. And it's just not there for me. And then on this LA side, Drew Doughty, 5,400. His price was under 5K, but I'm fine with him at 5,400 here. Very good power play spot. He's the guy that gets it done on the power play. He has a lot of upside to score as well. So definitely get into some Doughty. I think Sean Walker and Matt Roy and Mikey Anderson, all three of them are fine punt defensemen. LA blocks a lot of shots, so I think you're fine going to any of the three. And then Cal Peterson, man, he is the best goaltender tonight for me. He's just been very good. He has very good analytics, and he's 7,500. So give me some Cal Peterson tonight.
Okay, so now that Mike said Cal Peterson is the best goalie tonight, you know that's not going to be the case. That's just how these things work. No, I think Peterson's a great spot tonight. I kind of touched on it when we were talking about Subban there, and his price is 6,900. I would rather pay for Peterson in a matchup where you can think LA can squeeze out a win here, and he's going to get a lot of shots. But on St. Louis's side, I'm not too excited. I do typically like the third line. They are just a little bit pricey for me today, just with Hoffman being at 4,800 and Sundqvist's price coming up to around 4K. Like, they're expensive for a third line, and just the minutes that they play, like, to me, like, that's not really justifiable for their price. So I'm probably off them. I think there's just better filler stacks tonight. And Krug, Mike said, has been great. And if you look at his numbers, he has been great throughout the season. He's starting to find his game there in St. Louis, which is good because they needed somebody to kind of step up, especially with Parayko being out of the lineup. He just needs to play like he was playing in Boston. So good for him getting his game going there. I like Vince Dunn for 2,900 too, especially if like you are taking St. Louis one, like even getting to him instead of Krug for 5,100, you still get a little bit of correlation there with Sanford and Kyrou. And then the second line, I'm not too excited about. You get Shen and Perron, both power play one correlated, but I just think for that price, like I would rather just pay for the first line. Even the tough matchup against Kopitar, it's just like the price thing for me that really drives me away from St. Louis 2 there. Ville Husso, I'm actually shocked that he's at 7,500. I think that you would expect his price to be somewhere around where Subban is, given his track record.
Yeah.
He hasn't technically been bad from a DraftKings perspective, but it's such a small sample. He's pretty inconsistent. He gives up like 2 to 4 goals a game usually. Like I'm staying off of him tonight altogether. Just especially because like LA's been good and that first line has been good as well. And I think if you're going anywhere for LA, it's the first line. It's the same narrative for LA. I feel like I'm just repeating myself every time I come into this team. They're underrated. The first line doesn't get a lot of ownership. They're good. They just seem to find the scoreboard every game. And even Doughty, when he was 4,800, I was shocked. I couldn't believe his price there. We were seeing him earlier in the year around 6K sometimes. So I think this is a good price for him as well. 5,400. He's just been so good for this team this season, especially after having a brutal season last year. And Sean Walker for 2,500, if he is on power play too, I think that's a pretty solid punt option. Even if you want to get to, like Mike said, Matt Roy or Mikey Anderson, anywhere under the 3K mark for a guy that's playing around 20 minutes is a pretty solid punt to me. So I'll definitely look at potentially taking some of them.
Yeah, I agree. Just gonna answer a few questions here. Drop Samsonov for Demko. I would still hold Samsonov, unfortunately, but Demko's definitely been picking it up. Krejci or Killorn for tonight. Krejci Killorn for me. I like the power play one spot. I like his line a lot more. Is Peterson actually playing? Man, we don't know. It's expected, but I know they flip flop, so we're assuming it's him. Iafallo or Killorn? Tonight, Iafallo for me over Killorn. Rasmus Kupari making the NHL debut tonight. We took him in the import draft in the Sioux, and he never ended up playing for us. He went first round. Kupari, I think he's Finnish. He's good. Binnington starting. Okay, yeah, we got that. All right, move on. If you're liking the stream so far, leave a like. We've got 59 people in here. So hit that like button, and we'll move on to some of the more interesting games tonight. The late night hammer. Kind of put your phone away, guys, if you're doing good in the first 2 games, because it's going to be interesting, these night games. Anaheim, Colorado, very, very bad matchup for Anaheim tonight. They're a team I don't mind taking just because they're always priced super affordable. But just a really tough matchup against a Colorado team that has been limiting everything. But I think the only reason why I would be inclined to take Anaheim today is just filler stacks. If I'm going anywhere, it's going to be line 3, the Zegras, Lundstrom, Raquel line. Just because they're going to be playing against the depth tonight in Colorado, and you don't want to be targeting against line 1 or 2 at all. And Raquel is just a guy that has extremely good shot volume numbers. And Zegras' minutes have come up quite a bit. I think he played 20 minutes last game. So if I'm inclined to go anywhere tonight, Anaheim 1, Fowler, Shattenkirk, both fine on D. I'm going to assume it's Gibson tonight.
You're going to hope it's Gibson tonight?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not Gibson tonight, like, I'm just going to redo all my lineups and just go 100% Colorado. But I just think it's too difficult of a matchup for Gibson. Colorado is just such a strong team in all facets, and we see McKinnon's back tonight. So Colorado side here, Colorado 1 is an amazing play tonight. Not really a surprise. It's kind of hard for me to not say they are. It's just such a favorable matchup against an Anaheim team that has just like not been very good. And I just think it's so hard for any team to find the perfect shutdown line to play against this McKinnon line. So definitely all over Colorado 1 tonight. Going to have some Gerard. I really like Ryan Graves. His minutes have come up significantly since Makar's been out. He's kind of the beneficiary from that Makar injury, and that's kind of what you want to see. So I'm going to have some Graves tonight. He's a block guy. He'll get you your peripherals. I think you're also fine going to Colorado 2 and 3. Like, you can take these depth lines. They have a really high total tonight. So if the scoring spread, you're going to benefit. And I also think it's fine to go Colorado power play 1 if you want to do Kadri, McKinnon, Rantanen. I have some of my best stacks tonight. I have a Kadri, McKinnon, Landeskog 3-man. Another Kadri, McKinnon, Landeskog 3-man. So I think you're able to get different with the power play stacks. I have a Kadri, McKinnon, Rantanen 3-man. And that's kind of a way to get away from this ownership tonight because they are going to be high owned, but they're one of the best stacks by far tonight. Philip Grubauer, he's okay, 8,400. He's probably the most likely goalie to win tonight. I just don't think the shot volume's there at 8,400, but definitely going to get to some of him.
Just going to answer a couple questions. Happy Friday, Emilio. Is Grizzly a must-add now that he's back? In deeper leagues, for sure, I think. Like, just the fact that he's playing power play 1 kind of justifies it, but I wouldn't say he's a must-add. It kind of depends on your league. Is Tuck a short-term or long-term hold? Mike, I'm going to pass that off to you.
Sorry, is what?
Tuck a long-term or short-term hold?
I would say long-term. I think Vegas is so good. And we'll get to Tuck.
Yeah.
We'll get to Tuck.
Georgiev a must-add going forward. I don't like either of the Rangers goalies, but I think if you're going to go somewhere, it's Shesterkin. He's just played better. He seems to be getting more starts. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a must-add, but
yeah, not a must-add.
I like Shesterkin over him. Thoughts on Blackwood? Solid. It's great.
Yeah.
Are you guys East Coast? Yes, we are. Oh, Dovidas answered that. Hudobin for Leonard. I just don't know when Leonard's going to be back.
Hudobin's been bad. But yeah, we have no timetable on Leonard. It's like when you guys ask me about like Panarin trades, it's like I don't know because I don't know when he's back. Like,
yeah,
there's just as good a chance that he can miss the whole season then if he can come back tomorrow and play the rest of the season. So,
oh, is Shesterkin out?
Yeah, he's out.
Man, I'm still not confident in Georgiev, if I'm honest.
But if you need a goalie for volume, like, I think it's just a matchup thing. If Rangers have some favorable matchups, then
yeah, you can stream him for sure.
All right.
Okay, Anaheim. I really like the third line as well. I see Trevor Zegras and I see Rickard Rakell, and my mouth starts to water a little bit. Unfortunately, they're playing against the Colorado Avalanche, so it's tough to get to any Anaheim for me tonight. I think it's the third line, if anything. To me, they just have the most upside. Regardless of the Zegras Rakell combination, they're just both power play 1 as well. They're not super expensive. And I'm probably off the D tonight in general. There's a couple good punt options there. But I think I would rather just go with somebody like a Sean Walker who's seeing like power play time or something like that. Maybe even Vince Dunn for 2,900. Gibson, you're hoping this guy's in net. Yeah, I just think if Gibson is playing, he's a good option just based off of his price. They've been trying to rest him as best they can, but it's tough when you just rely so heavily on a guy to just kind of bail your team out every night because your team's bad. It's legit every night. I don't know what is going on with these colors, but we need to figure that out because a 10% power play is not good. But yeah, Colorado power play 1, getting contrarian. I like that call. You saw some success with that too, with leaving McKinnon off and taking Kadri. Even if you take the first line, like yes, they're expensive, but it's just such a good matchup against Anaheim. You should technically see an absolute bloodbath here from Colorado. even the second line solid. Kadri's a pretty good shooter. I wouldn't say he's a high shot volume guy, but he does like to shoot the puck, and he has shown a little success in the past. I don't know how he's been as of late. I don't typically watch a lot of Colorado games. I probably should more often. But I think just based off of the price, like he's getting power play 1 time, he seems to find some success on that top power play. So always a good option there, especially in a matchup against Anaheim. And then the third line as well, like they're surprisingly cheap as well. 2 guys at power play 2 correlation, Comfer and Donskoy. I think that's a solid filler stack as well. Like you just got to be careful. Like they're going to be paired with like Boston 1 and Tampa as well. So you just got to kind of find different ways to make your stacks a little bit more unique. Sam Girard, power play 1. Normally I would be on him, but you've seen his price kind of go up just because of that Makar injury. He doesn't do. He
doesn't like shoot or block.
Yeah, he's like a cheap version of
Hedman.
I was gonna say Hedman, but Hedman is a little bit better in terms of peripherals. But he's just good in the sense that you're not paying $6K for a D, and if you're taking the first line just as is without the Kadri for McKinnon swap or Kadri for whoever swap, then you just kind of get away from. You're forced to just not pay up for a D, and I think Girard is fine there just based on the power play. But Anaheim's power play penalty kill is pretty decent, and especially if Gibson's in net, I'd probably just stay off Girard altogether. I think there's just better options. Ryan Graves 4,400, guy's a block machine, and then Devin Taves 5,200. I don't want to pay over 5K for a D that's not getting power play 1 time. Like, yes, he plays a ton of minutes. You usually see him and Makar, and he has been his peripherals have been going up as of late as well. I think I'd rather just pay up for like somebody who's 6K that gets power play 1 time.
All right.
And I'm actually, just to touch on Grubauer, I don't think he's a good play tonight. I think 8,400 is expensive. He's not going to see a lot of shots from Anaheim. And if they do manage to net like 1 or 2 potentially on like the power play or something, then you're just not getting the value that you pay for with Grubauer. We kind of talked about this prior to the stream. He needs to see volume, and I don't think he's going to see volume tonight.
I agree. All right, Minnesota, Arizona. The game we talked a little bit about before. Kind of a snooze fest game tonight. Very low event. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure what the total is on this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 5, which is very low. Hard to target games with like low totals like that. But key takeaways from this is the Garland, Schmaltz, Keller line is split up, and I hate that a lot. And I'll never understand why Rick Tocchet does it. But the best line split up tonight. We still got Garland, Schmaltz together as a 2-man. I think if I'm going to go anywhere tonight in this game, it's going to be Arizona 1. Arizona power play. Minnesota has a ton of power penalties. Like they take over 3.5 a game right now. So they've just been atrocious. And I really like Minnesota 1, 2, and 3. Kind of weird to say, but I think the third line actually is one of the best value lines. If Parise's in tonight, don't know, but looks like we get into quite a few Eriksson Ek shares in my first crunch today. I think that's fine to go to them, especially because Arizona does also take a decent amount of penalties. And I'm not sure if Ranta is as good as as we've seen him. Not sure if anyone saw the I'm not sure if anyone saw the storyline. I said I'm not sure if anyone saw the storyline last night or 2 games ago against the Kings, but I'm pretty sure he had like a 957 career save percentage against the Kings in like 7 games. He's like 4 shutouts, and he was like lights out against them. But I'm on Minnesota 1 tonight. I think it's a good spot. Fiala's off that line. No.
Yep. That's why I sort of kind of interrupted.
So that was a morning skate thing. Parise, Fiala, Bukestad. So that's like their top line. Okay, so they're going back to the... All right, so my takeaway from these new lines here is that this Greenway, Ek, Foligno line is like their number 1 shutdown line. And they're going to be shutting down Arizona 1 a lot tonight. I'm not sure if Arizona 1's going to try and avoid them, but tough matchup for whoever goes against this line. Jeez, I hate when the lines change as we're streaming.
Yeah.
Because I actually loved Fiala tonight. I thought it was a good spot, but still like Minnesota 3. Fiala's still cheap in a good power play spot. On the defensive side, guys, I think you're fine going to Spurgeon at 3,900. Don't mind Dumba too much. And then Chikrin at 6K is a pretty solid play tonight. A lot of opportunity on the power play for him. He's a guy that plays a lot of minutes, and he has become the number 1 defenseman on a pretty solid Arizona team. Looks like I also got to some Goligoski, kind of a deeper play, cheap blocks. Yeah, that's about it. It got to some Chikrin, Goligoski, and some Ranta.
Yeah, so I think with Minnesota, just based off of the line swap and everything, I'm just more inclined to go with the third line, like Mike said. Just with Fiala being there, you get Parise, who's been playing better as of late as well, and it kind of brings the price down having him Bukestad there with Fiala, who's a guy that Mike and I have been raving about even really early in the season. We said this guy's going to be an absolute stud just based off of his shot volume, right? Like if you're in a league that counts shots, like just look at this guy's shot total. It's ridiculous. So really like that. You don't get any power play correlation from that line as well, but I just think that it's going to be your better 5-on-5 matchup as well, especially with that Eriksson Ek line going against Arizona 1. And then Ryan Suter for 3,300. I think that's a great option. Power play 1, over 20 minutes, extremely cheap. I was actually shocked when I saw that this morning. He's a good play tonight, I think, just based off of his price. Dumba, who's seen a lot of success lately coming back from that injury. He's been shooting a bunch. He's been finding the score sheet pretty consistently, 4,700. I just don't like that he's not on power play 1. It's really tough to justify, again, taking he's like Sergachev kind of. He has a little bit of upside, but he's playing power play 2. And then Kekkonen, I think this is a tough one because I think that we said it was what? Did I pronounce his name wrong?
Yeah, it's funny. Go ahead.
Okay. This game looks like it's going to be super low event, but you know that means it's going to be super high event.
Super low owned.
Yeah, it's an ownership thing. Like one of these lines is going to pop off, but on the Arizona side, I'm just disappointed that line's not together, that Garland, Schmaltz, Keller line.
Yeah.
After seeing a bunch of success. But this is a good indication for us to see if Garland is at that elite level or if he's striving towards that elite level. I want to kind of see if he's able to just drive that line with regardless of who's on his line. So it'll be a good kind of test for me tonight. I'm excited to see what matchup he gets because typically against this Greenway, Eriksson, Foligno line, they're pretty good at shutting down the other team's top line. So I'm curious to see how he does against them because he's just been great lately, and we've been keeping an eye on him just as a breakout candidate potentially altogether. So I think if you're going anywhere with Arizona tonight, it's got to be the first line. They're all power play 1 correlated. You throw Chikrin in there, and you're just set for that. Even at 6K, I think Chikrin is a great price. He's just been fantastic in terms of his peripherals this season. And power play 1 time, he's been producing quite a bit as well, which is great to see from him. This was a guy that we were on last year as well, but it's good to see that his production's back up. So it's Arizona 1 for me tonight, and I'm probably off of the second and the third line.
All right. So Vegas, San Jose. definitely the game that we were excited to get to. And the main topic of conversation here is this Vegas 2 line in a very, very, very good spot tonight against San Jose depth. They're one of our best, actually, our best projected line by a long shot. One of the best projected lines I've ever seen for us. And they've just been really strong 5-on-5. They project extremely well. They're all in the second power play unit that has about a 60 or 55-45 split between power play 1 and 2. They really even out their power play usage. And against a San Jose team that's terrible defensively, they take a ton of penalties. They're bad on the penalty kill. I just can't see a better spot for this Vegas team tonight. But this Vegas 2 line, they're going to get a ton of ownership tonight. You can fill them in with every line. And now it's up to you to get different how you want to play this. So I have some Tuck, Carlson, Marchessault stacks, some Tuck, Carlson, Smith stacks, Tuck, Smith, 2-mans. So I'm trying to mix in Tuck as much as I can. I think he's a guy that projects really well, high shot volume guy, lots of goal upside, and he's correlates in the second power play unit with them. So definitely have to get weird here, mixing Tuck in with them. And I think Vegas 1 is also in a really good spot tonight. They're also favorably priced. Stone is still under 6K for some reason. And I think if you want, you can easily take Chandler Stevenson off that top power play unit, off that top line and put in Cody Glass there to get different. Stevenson is a guy that literally does not shoot the puck ever, like one of the lowest shot volume players in the league. And paying 4,200 for him, you're really, really banking on him scoring a goal. So if you kind of want to get away from the chalk, definitely toss Cody Glass in there. Toss Theodore in that stack as well. I just think it's a really good spot for Vegas as a team. They're probably one of the best lines tonight, or if not the best. And this third line here too, definitely some interest. Don't think Keegan Kolesar is going to get any ownership. I took him a couple nights ago at like 0.1%. He's a punt play, but you do have to get weird on a slate that only has 6 games on it. On the San Jose side, not too much to talk about. I think if I'm going anywhere, it's San Jose 1. They're in a brutal matchup, but they're a team that actually has been really good 5-on-5. So that's all I really have to say about San Jose. Mario Ferreira with 3,300 plays a ton of minutes, just hoping for the block bonus. You're also fine going Erik Karlsson. He's a guy that really hasn't gotten it done at all this year, but he has gotten it done in his career, and he's under 4K tonight, playing 25 minutes a night, so I'm fine with that. And then Brent Burns, always a good play. He just blocks and shoots so much. Like, he has probably the highest floor, up there with Dougie and Yossi. Probably them three have the highest floors in the league on D. Martin Jones, never, ever, no thank you. Just a brutal matchup for him tonight.
Sorry, I should really mute my mic when you're talking just to not interrupt you, but I'm just reading the chat right now. Emilio was like, shark.
He's a Sharks
Vegas.
fan.
So you might be surprised tonight. And then Jeffrey hits back with Vegas don't care.
Dude, I love that.
I love the chirps going back and forth in the chat right now. Let me frame this up for you real quick. San Jose has Rudolph Blazers and Dylan Gambriel on their second line.
0 for 2.
0 for 2? Really?
Rudolph Balcers and Dylan Gambrell.
I was just going to say, I've never heard of these guys ever in my life, and they're playing against Carlson, Marchessault, Smith. So, in conclusion, Vegas 1, Vegas 2, and Vegas 3 are all extremely good options tonight. It doesn't really matter where you go. Mike said you got to kind of get different because they're going to be really high owned. Vegas 2, for some reason, is still ridiculously cheap. So tuck in, switch them out with Smith or Marchessault or Carlson even. That'll be tough because Tuck is a winger, but I think you can kind of get different that way as well. So I think no matter where you go tonight with Vegas, it's a really good matchup. San Jose's bad. I'm sorry, Emilio.
He's heard it before.
They're just a bad team. And then just to make things even more favorable, looking at Las Vegas here, Petro's only 6,100 and Theodore is under 6K. Yeah. So it really doesn't matter where you go tonight. I'm going to have all 3 lines in some form or another. If you're playing MME, you're going to take all 3 lines as well. You're probably going to have a lot of that second line as well, just because of their price. And then I don't really think you can go anywhere on the San Jose side. If you have to go somewhere, I think it's the first line. Like Mike said, they're pretty good 5-on-5. But outside of that, I don't want to pay $6K for Logan Couture against Las Vegas. So it's Golden Knights tonight for me. Never bet against the house. That's our motto, right, Mike? But Burns is solid always at 6,600. He's one of the higher priced D, obviously, on the slate, and it's justifiable. I just really don't like that he's not banging power play one time, but that does give Karlsson a little bit more upside because their power play is half decent. I don't think it's great by any means, but for a guy that of Erik Karlsson's talent, playing power play 1, playing over 23 minutes, and at 3,700, I think that's a really good value play as well.
All right.
No Martin Jones, absolutely.
Yeah, no Martin Jones.
Don't even think about it. I'd rather take Subban.
All right. So, guys, sorry, Emilio, for always ripping on your Sharks, but
yes,
for good reason.
It's tough.
Yeah, don't like Rudolph Blazers, but I like Rudolph Balsers. I think he was part of the Erik Karlsson trade. I think he was on Ottawa.
Was he actually?
Mm-hmm. So, all right, favorite line for me tonight, pretty easy. I'm going to go with Boston 1. I just think the ownership's never high enough for them, and they're just such a good stack tonight.
My favorite line tonight is Vegas 1.
Yeah. Vegas.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah, Vegas 2 is far and away the best value pick tonight. We'll wrap this up. Seems like some people have to go, so...
Patrick, we got you. Don't worry. Thank you for chilling.
Yeah. All right, boys. So we'll jump over to the hat trick picks tonight. So Mr. Jeff Garbig, if you're in here, you had the highest score last night, 32 points. A lot of people up there. We had 2 Barkovs. Had a really good night. Not really a surprise there. All 4 Matthews, no goals. A couple busts there. But new slate tonight. We had 2 hat tricks last night. Kreider and Dubé. Devils was kind of kicking himself about not taking Kreider.
Oh no.
No, Nightbot again. It's critics. 5 seconds. Critic, don't mess with Nightbot, man. He is the police in this stream.
Stop spamming caps.
All right, boys.
We gotta tweak him.
Yeah, I'll tweak him. This is my first time putting him in here. But boys, give us your hat trick predictions tonight. Couple really good spots. So I'm excited to see if anyone gets a little weird with their picks.
Riddick had Burns, and then Nightbot timed him out. So if that's how his name is pronounced, I don't know what it looks like. Critic to me.
Oh, he said Burns?
Yeah. Oh, Duncan going with Cody Glass. Who else but Logan Couture? Emilio, I respect the support that you give your team, but it's a tough one.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
I will gladly eat my words on stream tomorrow if Logan Couture gets a hat trick.
John Leonard. Dude, Mike B has the best picks.
Is he even playing?
Yep.
It's got to be 4th line then, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Hate to see it. NCAA fiend.
Yeah, he was so good in NCAA.
I actually am playing 3rd line instead of Nieto, so there you go.
Oh, the Zegras by Ray Ray. Just a tough matchup, but I like it. I think I know my pick. I hope no one takes him.
But Mike's thinking super off the board tonight, so...
Don't take him, guys. Don't take him.
I don't think you're going too far off.
Look at Devil's pick. 41. Who's your... Oh, Chandler Stephen. No, a channel. No. The worst.
Matteo. Get absolutely wrecked, Mike. Roasted on stream.
Comtois. Huso with the hottie. Pecorine. Someone take Blazers. Yeah, we need a Blazers pick here, guys. Come on.
Oh, Patty Kane. He's a good pick, but I don't think he shoots enough.
Patty Kane?
Yeah.
He shoots a ton.
Really? I thought he seems like he gets more assists than he does goals.
That's what happens when you're a superstar. All right, so you got your
I'll let you go ahead, just so that for whatever reason I don't take yours.
I'm gonna say Alex Tuck.
Alex Tuck.
The touch.
Going off the board.
You want Blazers or Gambriel?
I'm gonna go with Max Pacioretty tonight.
He his last hat trick won me first place in the mini max. So
I don't think anybody took him either.
No.
Love that.
Connor Garland is my second choice. Keep that in mind. All right, guys. So that's going to conclude the stream today. It was kind of a long one, but definitely enjoy talking to you guys as much as we can. Love the support. If you guys like the stream, leave a like and subscribe on your way out. Follow us on Twitter at @fantasy_puck. Nightbot, I know he's been bullying some of you guys, but he's been providing some links to our Discord and links to our Patreon, guys. If you want access to our sheets, our trade analyzer, everything all available over on our Patreon. If you want to just support us as content creators too, it helps us out tremendously. You guys are awesome. So any final closing words, Mr. Chris Charlton?
There is 51 watching currently. Let's get some likes in the chat, guys. Really helps us out. Really knows it's just like a kind of a mental health thing too. We love seeing that like button go up there, and it motivates us to give you guys content and do, as Mike says, a lot more digging in terms of finding you guys these great plays for season long as well as DFS. And then yeah, get in our Discord if you aren't already. I've been kind of inactive, just been because of work and stuff as of late. But if you guys have any questions, as always, just ping in the trades channel or in the Draftkings channel. One of the two of us or any of the FP crew, we will be more than happy to help you guys out with whatever questions that you have. Yeah, let's make some money tonight. It's a good slate. There's some good options, and hopefully everything goes our way tonight.
Let's get this bread, boys. Get some money. They've been getting close, so hopefully tonight's the